DreamHack Masters Day 4 has come and passed, and we saw an upset and a relatively straightforward expected result for Order. Obviously, yesterday we saw two teams depart here in DreamHack Masters. Today we'll be doing much the same as we head into those lower bracket final matches. Things are starting to heat up. Tomorrow will be the grand finals, and two teams are going to go through to those from ANZ and from Asia. We've got a couple of games for you today. Looking forward to them, so why don't we go ahead and check out what they're going to be. It's DreamHack Masters Spring Day number 5. A big warm welcome to you all around the world as we dive into Asia and Oceania once again. We've seen some pretty interesting results yesterday, particularly the one that Lucid dropped to Beyond Esports, which pushed them through to this lower bracket final. Of course, before we get too far into the discussion about Asia, we will be talking about ANZ. That's our first match for today, and we've got Kevin back, we've got Pilsky back here again after his day off, and looking forward to seeing how this one all pans out, fellas. Interesting results yesterday, I thought. Kev, in particular, going 2-0 for Order. They looked good going into what they'll now have to face AVANT again. So, yeah, tough ask for them, but the form seems to be on point for them at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this AVANT versus Order, we saw it earlier on in day number 2 of the DreamHack Masters, but now coming back, it's that rematch. And look, it's just, once again, anyone's game to really take, and that's why we're so excited to see it, because we don't know exactly who's going to take it just yet.
Indeed, indeed. Well, certainly a lot to think about. Pilsky, you're back. Did you get much of a time to have a look at some of those matches yesterday, or are you coming in fresh with a new reinvigorated approach for day 4?
Oh, I was keeping an eye on them. You know, always have the extra stream on the second monitor. You always got to have some kind of esport playing while you're milling around on your computer doing other productive things. So I definitely kept my eye on the games. I enjoyed the Thai matchup, although, you know, it was a little bit disappointing to see what's happening in Lucid Dream at the moment. And as for Order, I was just happy that they were able to actually make that look clean, which gives me a little bit more hope heading into today.
All right, well, let's take a look at the bracket for today as well. We'll kick off with ANZ. And this is what you're going to be alluding to. The fact that Order got that 2-0 pretty clean over Chiefs now puts them in the lower bracket final against Order. They're playing off for a slot against Renegades. We saw this match on day number 1. Order and AVANT, they went up against each other. It was a 2-0 for AVANT. I want to sort of go back in time a little bit, take a step back to that match and get your opinions on that, because that to me seems like it seemed like a pretty surprising result, right? The fact that Order wasn't able to get even a single map.
You could frame it that way. You could also say, just based on the fact that AVANT has beaten them so many times across different competitions. You go back to the ANZ Champs. Obviously, AVANT wasn't able to participate in Road to Rio, but they really do have a very good track record going up against Order over these last couple times that they've played. And they have actually beaten them very, very straightforwardly, both in ANZ Champs and then in that upper bracket game. So it's going to be a question of, is Order underperforming, or is AVANT just really got their number in some way?
That is certainly something that we're going to have to dive into and discuss in a little bit. For now, we're going to say a big thank you to our sponsors who helped make this all possible. Of course, DreamHack Masters Spring here in Asia and Oceania. Very much required, very much needed, as we don't have a whole lot of Counter-Strike elsewise going on. So big thank you to all those sponsors, and thank you to DreamHack as well. But Kev, what was your take on the result that we saw between AVANT and Order earlier on in the bracket? Were you expecting to see Order actually out of that one, or did you put Avant down
I
on your
actually
prediction?
expected Order to drop down in the first one, actually, and I expected the second one to be a lot closer. I mean, I expected both series to be close. I think what was overall shocking about this series was how uneven map number 1 was, right? Avant just pretty much steamrolled over Order at that stage, and Order, they actually made a really, really good fight coming onto Nuke. It was a 16-13 victory for Avant, but I would argue a couple of rounds that go in the favor of Order. If you had Alistair that was performing, it could have been a different result. We could have seen map number 3, and that was what we got from that talk from Ricky afterwards as well. Train didn't really go their way. It looks like they were exploiting that B-bomb site quite heavily. So, look, it's once again anyone's game to take right now, and I'm really keen to see what Avant also have lined up as well, because they're going to be further adapting as well.
Indeed. All right, well, let's go and show you what's coming up for today before we get too far into the discussion about Avant and Order. That is, of course, our first match. Then we've got Vici and Beyond. I guess, you know, a little bit of a surprise maybe to see Beyond going through from that lower bracket match, but Vici definitely disappointing against Tyloo. I'd say we're probably looking towards Vici and Tyloo Grand Final again today, or, well, tomorrow, Pilski, if Vici can get over Beyond today.
Yeah, they should have absolutely no problems with Beyond whatsoever. I mean, they've been smashing teams that they're meant to be beating pretty routinely, even going back to Road to Rio and some of those group stages. So I would expect nothing less from Vici. They should be making their way to the grand final. The only teams that they really have a problem with in the region seem to be Tiger and Tyloo. So unless your name's Tiger and Tyloo, you're probably getting stomped.
Do you have any 2 cents to throw in here for that Asian matchup, Kev?
Yeah, I think it'll still be heavily favoured over towards Vici. Yep, they had a bit of a shocker against Tyloo, but that series against Tyloo I'm kind of willing to write off because it was just such a weird one to be watching considering it was 3 one-sided maps. And look, coming into this Beyond, they did manage to take a victory against Lucid Dream, but obviously given the news today that one of the members from Lucid Dream has stepped down, it may be... And you go, okay, Beyond also overperformed on some of the individuals. Maybe that's a bit of a lucky result, and given the fact they took a bit of a fortunate result against... I guess, failing Lucid Dream, it really makes it hard to back them in this matchup against Vici.
Yeah, it certainly puts a different spin on the result that we saw yesterday, but that's all coming up for you today. Order and Avant will be waiting for us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll dive into our pre-match discussion about this first ANZ matchup for today. AVANT and Order, a rematch of what we got to see in round 1 of the upper bracket here in DreamHack Masters Spring. We'll dive into the discussion, right, with Karath and Pilski on the desk with me. Things are looking pretty interesting going into this matchup, right? This is a rivalry that's really been starting to develop over the course of 2020. Even heading into the late stages of 2019, I felt like these two teams were going head-to-head quite a lot, Kevin. This is just another iteration of the same matchup, and we get to build those storylines a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason why this rivalry is so important, because they're looking to, I guess, cement that number 2 position right now in Oceania. Look, I'd be willing to give it to AVANT at this stage. They've proven it over the last couple of series, but that, I mean, coming into this, Order definitely have a really good chance of, I guess, creating a mini upset, I would say. It's still looking a bit 50-50 to me now, given that there's a lot more to play for. No one really has any lives left. This is the part where it's really critical for both sides now.
I think that's a pretty interesting tangent to go down. What's your 2 and 3, Pilski? Is it AVANT Order or Order AVANT?
AVANT Order.
Yeah.
Just because of the head-to-head. I think actually Order might even have a better matchup against Renegades than AVANT does, potentially. You know, we haven't really seen it too much, so that's going to be, especially watching that last series, it's going to be pretty important in DreamHack. But yeah, like you guys said, it's been a developing matchup since about like April this year. AVANT's been beating Order pretty consistently. You know, the last time that Order actually got a win over them, I think, was in their MDL Grand Finals. So, you know, ever since then, going through ANZ Champs, going through some of these other competitions, AVANT's been beating them, you know, almost every time.
Well, since we're talking about AVANT, we may as well go ahead and bring up their roster here on the screen for you. They are a team that was formed a little while ago. You know, they've been together for quite a while now. You've got a couple of interesting names in there. I think we've been talking a lot about Hazza recently, fellas, but, you know, APOC and Ofnu coming back from all of that experience that they have as players. You bring in Blitz, you bring in Sterling, and, you know, you have a pretty good sort of mix of older experienced players and sort of fresh blood that are coming up through the ranks. So, Kev, let's talk a little bit more in depth about the individuals on this roster. Who's the guy that, you know, you think is one to watch? Because I feel like really you could put your hand in the cookie jar and pull anyone out and probably talk about them quite extensively.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this, it just has to go back to Sterling, right? Because it's always that AWP versus AWP matchup, which makes me really keen for it. Look, I mean, you can make every single argument for the riflers as well. I feel like Often has actually been suffering a little bit from not being able to perform recently. I think IGLing roles have actually shifted back to him, if I remember correctly. It's actually switched over from Blitz. So, I mean, Often, if he has a really good series here, definitely going to be helping. The fact that Sterling as well has been having some sensational form coming into these matches over at DreamHack Masters.
Yeah, he has. He's been absolutely phenomenal, particularly in that game against Renegades, I think it was, where they were in this OT and actually upset them. So you're looking at the highlights of it. This is what sticks in my mind. I think Sterling was like 20 for 20 at one point and ended up going like 43 to 28. He had so many rounds where he was just getting multi-frags with the AWP shutting down these A-bomb site hits. So he's really a critical player, because if he's on his game and he's having impact, then on the CT side, if you come anywhere near him, you're going to be killed.
Yeah, I think Sterling has been one of the more consistent individuals in the AU scene of late, you know, like even though AVANT hasn't been playing in all of the competitions that the likes of Order has, right? They missed out on Road to Rio, but when we've seen them playing in the likes of ANZ Champs and all these other kinds of things, the minor qualifiers, etc., I mean, Sterling always seems to be able to put up numbers regardless of the result that AVANT finds.
I think it's his AWPing style as well. That's the whole thing. It's a very passive AWPing style, and there's nothing wrong with it, because it's actually very difficult to passively AWP recently, because you have so many flashbangs coming your way. You have all these Molotovs and smokes, and then you're stuck in a crossfire. I think it's really impressive that he's able just to sit, pick the right angle at the right time, and actually still get these kills. I think the fact that he's been able to go so stable in these situations means that, yep, he can always put up the numbers for AVANT.
Indeed, definitely going to be important for AVANT today in their matchup against Order, but let's talk now about Order, as we saw them yesterday have a good performance against Chiefs. There was a little bit of a question mark, I guess, about the form of Order coming into this competition and how they were going to go, but given what we saw yesterday, particularly from the likes of Alistar, things are looking relatively impressive, at least form-wise for Order. Is he your player to keep an eye on, Pilski, Alistar, or is there someone else that you like to watch in this Order roster?
Yeah, he's my player to watch. I mean, if you're going to draw a direct comparison between the AWP matchup, you know, him versus Sterling, it's literally polar opposites. You know, Sterling is very safe, very consistent. He's going to take, you know, your sensible angles, whereas Alistar, he's a playmaker. He'll pick up a Deagle, pick up an AK, he'll pick up an AWP and go aggressively and take over the game when he's feeling it. But due to that, there can be just some inherent inconsistencies in that way of play. If you get punished for it, particularly if you've got an AWP, it's going to be very, very bad for the team, and you're going to have to make up that deficit somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's my big problem with Order at the moment, though, is I don't really zone in on just one player in particular. I constantly see almost every single player on this roster, bar Valiance, I think, pretty much just have wildly inconsistent performances as of late. You know, even when they beat Chiefs last night, Gyro didn't have a good game. So every single player on this team, bar Valiance, like I said, is very liable to underperform and put Order in a bit of a tough spot at the moment. So that's my big issue with this matchup. I think AVANT's a little bit more consistent.
Yeah. Do you have any players that you keep an eye on for Order?
For Order in particular, outside of Alistair, would definitely be Astillo, because it looks like he's always a rifler. He gets into the aggressive positions as well. And it's so interesting to see. You've got a lot of these passive players, you know, Valiance as well as Gyra. They're doing the lockdown of the main bomb site. You've got Ricky, who is the small site player, so he's got a big responsibility. Then you've got Alistair and Astillo that are just roaming around, trying to get the kills and trying to bring it back in Order's favor. And sometimes they go a little bit over-aggressive, so they can always get in a favorable situation. You always see Order on a 5-on-3 and a 5-on-2. Then one player just pushes a little bit too far, and that's it. They lose the round from there. So they have to be careful about giving opportunities to AVANT coming into today like that, because AVANT's going to take those opportunities, seize it with both hands, and win the game from there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that the question for me then is, coming into this, is it like a significant disadvantage for Order? Are they significantly the underdogs, or whereabouts are we kind of sitting as far as these two teams are concerned?
If I was to put a percentage on it, I'd probably say it's like 60-40, 65-35. You can't argue with the recent sort of run of head-to-head results. Even though I think both of these teams are very, very similarly skilled. I think both of them are, you know, you can make a case for them being a number 2. You can make a case for both of them being able to beat Renegades or being able to qualify for international tournaments. But the head-to-head doesn't lie. You're looking at the results since about the start of April, and you're saying, like, look, AVANT as a roster have only been together since X amount of time. You know, the improvement from them is very, very apparent, and you're seeing the results of that in this head-to-head matchup. They're having a very consistent run of beating Order.
All right, well, let's start talking about the maps here, fellas. You know, we do see a lot of matchups between AVANT and Order, so we have a bit of an idea as to how they do tend to perform. This is AVANT's list, and how they look across the map pool is actually pretty solid. I mean, they don't play too much Vertigo, so we're likely to see that one taken out of the pool here. But aside from that, it seems like they're fairly strong on the majority of the pool.
Yep. I would agree with that. You know, middle of the map pool, they're doing pretty well. Obviously, you know, certain maps, it's interesting to look at win rate percentages, but again, you have to sort of dig in a little bit further as to where those stats do come from and where they're losing their maps.
I mean, what I was going to say, why AVANT is really impressive on pretty much 6 of these maps is because you have normally like the more aim-based and kind of just duel-based orientated maps like your Dust 2 and whatnot. They're a team that can actually just individually win these gunfights pretty consistently, and then you look at the execute-based maps like Train and Nuke, and they are pretty good with that as well. They seem to have been getting the synergy across the board, both on the CT and T side. That's why they're so dangerous right now in my mind.
Here's Order's lineup as well, and you're going to see a fairly similar kind of a looking thing. Both don't really tend to play too much overpass. I guess the one advantage here that Order has is that they play Vertigo, which AVANT does not. Aside from that, it really does feel like the map pools kind of align quite significantly.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the teams are going to have some inconsistencies. The big thing for AVANT versus Order is there's a hell of a lot of these maps where Order have just been pretty one-sidedly defeated. Even if it's like a double-digit scoreline, that might be of a result of... There's been plenty of games lately where Order have been down like 13-5 and then ground back 6-7 rounds and make it look like, when you go on the HLTV statistics or something, that it was a much closer game than it actually was. So even on maps where Order had like a 90% win rate on Mirage or something like that, AVANT's beat them like 16-7 on Mirage before, so it's not really a very straightforward matchup. Maybe there's some maps where AVANT prepare very well, and what should be a good map for Order, unfortunately, they can't play to their strengths.
All right, well, I think it's time for us to dive into the map veto discussion. Now, there's not a whole lot to really break down when it comes to those first couple of bans. We've already seen out of both of those two teams' maps that we probably should be getting a Vertigo and an Overpass veto. I'd
actually argue against that a little bit, because the first ban from Order, I think, is going to be very crucial in terms of dictating their mentality. Are they going to be banning Train against AVANT? But yeah, look, AVANT's ban, it's going to be Vertigo, right?
Yes.
But if they ban out Train, that means they're really scared. If they allow Train to go through, it means they're very confident coming to the series.
All right, well, let's go ahead and bring up the first couple of bans and see what they are going to be. It's Vertigo and Overpass anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. What I am interested to talk about here is going to be those picks. So let's bring the picks up to start things off, and then we can break that down a little bit more. Now, Kev, you were talking about Train. Take me through this one here from AVANT.
Yeah, look, AVANT, very confident coming into this. They've done their prep work, and you saw that in the first series on day number 2, where they just completely trounced Order. And it wasn't as if Order weren't hitting shots at the beginning. They just abused the small side. Like, Ricky just got absolutely destroyed every single time around. One round, it goes, all right, we know Ricky's doing this. Next round, they go, yep, we know Ricky's doing this, and just completely blew him away. So this is now for Order to respond accordingly. Starting on the CT side, needs to have a much better start.
Yeah, definitely. Train and Inferno both don't look like fantastic maps coming out here for Inferno. For Order, at least as far as this matchup is concerned. Last couple of times we've seen these two teams play against each other. Both of these maps have gone pretty comfortably the way of AVANT. So Pilsky, once we get this third map up on the screen, I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a chat about what your thoughts are. So what we're going to see is Nuke. Now, that was previously the map choice by Order in favor of Inferno, so it's not one that they're going to be too disappointed to go to, but admittedly they did also lose that one to AVANT pretty recently as well.
Yeah, so Order's approach to this veto is, I mean, they're getting rid of Overpass rather than leaving it in there for the second ban for their opponent and leaving it down to the last two maps. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure what the reasoning for that behind that is. I feel like you're inherently going towards a disadvantage unless you're confident that AVANT's going to be playing your Overpass. To sum up the rest of the veto, it really is just they, like you said, have been beaten by AVANT a handful of times on a handful of these maps. So it's up to them to respond to that. They're going to have to be better prepared. They're going to have to shore up some of the weaknesses that AVANT have exploited before and play a much better game and a much more consistent game with the individuals if they're going to have a chance in this series. And I think that they know that. I think you'd be crazy to go and pick a bunch of maps that you've lost to a certain opponent unless you have something up your sleeve and you're better prepared this time.
Indeed. Well, Order certainly going to have to turn the tables on AVANT because the last couple of matchups we've seen between these two teams have gone the way of AVANT, but maybe a chance for redemption here for Order in DreamHack Masters Spring. We're going to head to a break. Map 1 will be coming up after this.
Flashbang's affected. They have got through the smoke wall here, but Chris J, he is the final boss of the bomb site.
Now Spitty and Chris J to keep Mousesports alive.
Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God!
Can they actually close this out? Boom, Chris.
Fantastic way to start, and no scopes on him himself. Absolutely saving Mousesports.
Hey, it's me, Lily from AT&T. I'm back, working from home, and here to help.
Hey Lily, I'm hearing a lot about 5G. Should I be getting excited?
Depends. Are you gonna want faster speeds?
I will.
More reliability?
Oh, also yes.
Better response times?
Definitely.
Are you gonna be making sourdough bread?
Oh, is that 5G related?
No, it's just like, why is everyone making sourdough now? But yes, you're gonna want 5G.
AT&T is building 5G on America's best network. Visit att.com to learn more.
When I'm not yours this time, let go. you know I caught your bluff. Now you are the victim, stop, I had enough. Cruising on a joyride, light heart, I feel free. You out of the picture, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Boy, c'est la vie. Down, c'est la vie. Boy, c'est la vie.
Train will be map 1 here between Avant and Order, and there are a few little things that we have to get past before we do get into it. The first, of course, is the predictions from the desk here, and we'll go ahead and bring those up for you so that you can see exactly what we're thinking. Myself and Pilski, as we generally are aligned, and we've both gone for Avant. Kev's gone and thrown his lot in with Order. I know you like a bit of a punt here, Kev, so how are you liking your chances? You know, are you feeling like you want to renege on your prediction already, or?
All I have to say is I
after
apologize to the Order management because generally I'm a curse here. I genuinely actually think Order can win, but I just seem to be the curse whenever I try to pick the underdog. They just go, yep, no.
I mean, I have to agree with you, to be honest. I think Order can win as well.
Yeah.
I just think it's more likely that Avant can.
I also think Order could win. I predicted Order to win 2-1 in the upper bracket and the lower bracket final after getting knocked back by Renegades, but I flip-flopped on my prediction.
All I'm saying is on day 2, when they asked me behind the curtains about, all right, who are you going to predict the entire bracket, right? Remember they asked us, who do you think is going to win this from the beginning? I went, Avant's going to take the first series. I think Order's going to take the second. So I'm backing myself in that aspect there.
Sure. All right. Well, hopefully you guys out there in the public have a better idea than us. You can go to DreamHackPick'em.com and let us know what your thoughts are, and perhaps win some prizes. I hear there's some available to pick up if you get the predictions correct. And obviously, Kev, your predictions so far have been a little bit off, so I'm probably going to be expecting most people will be going toward Avant. I mean, even you've said it yourself, you know, you seem like you've got a bit of a curse here. But look, maybe you can be that shining ray of hope. Maybe you can be the one that pushes Order through and helps them get over the line. What's it going to take for them? Are they going to have to really be relying on someone like Alistair to have a day like yesterday?
100%.
If they're going to beat Avant today?
Yeah, we're going to need some. We need to see some alley pogs in chat, pretty much. Him activated with the AWP and just pretty much destroying Avant. The Riflers also doing some work, and them actually beating Avant's preparation. That's going to be the hardest part, because Avant have really impressed me with how much work they've done in counter-strating their opponents, and I think that's the critical key for them.
I did just see the Betway odds there, a little bit of an interesting one. Both completely aligned. 1.83 for both Avant and for Order. Seems like the bettors at least believe this is a 50-50 matchup. We on the desk are leaning a little bit more towards Avant, and soon we will find out who is going to be correct. Let's train the first map here, and an incredibly important one for both teams to start off with.
All right, starting with the pistol round, as Jordan's going to be taking his leave. Pilly. Or should I say Pilski now?
Oh, man, it really doesn't matter. Could call me what you want, mate. Like a bit of pressure towards Ivy to start things off here, but no full commitment yet from Avant. Just taking their time, holding the push in towards Whitehall's here. Flash onto that Ivy line gives Jar a little bit of information, but Avant are starting to walk back towards inner here. Start to have a look at some of these positions. Got a few of the CTs rotating, leaning a little bit more heavily towards CT connector. Got that one flash that Ricky can throw out. And he still is pretty close up in SL with that CZ ready for the flank. Looking like they're starting to set up this execute here, walking towards Brown Halls.
Yeah, but you can see that Order actually shifting positions with Ricky as well as Valiant. Valiant is going to be spotting this one out, and Alistair staying hidden on the site. Out comes the players as Astillo goes down, trying to push up through SL, but Offnu's not going to clear this. But Alistair, he's missed the shots. It doesn't deny the bomb plan as Offnu's aware. A 3-on-5 at the moment. Now made even worse as Sterling's making some good work with a P250 alongside with Hazard. And this round pretty much over and done with. AVANT just showing that early presence and just fading away into the night with silence before they pop up on the other bomb site. What a pistol round.
I felt like Order had a decent read on that situation, you know. You could have had Ali punishing that bomb plant. You had some players ready fast for the flank. Istillo and SL. You had some players leaning towards CT connector. But despite all of these factors being in the favor of Order, nothing connects. Nothing sticks for them. And it's a 5-0 start for AVANT in that first pistol round. Did not even look close. So now Order, after losing that initial pistol, are going to be force buying. 2 scouts looking for some damage here. Just opportunity for Ricky with the tag as AVANT set up a very default sort of a play. 2 players over here towards the brown and the white halls. 2 players holding T connector. Offnoon minding Ivy. Waiting to punish any CTs who are getting a little bit too cheeky.
Or missed Molotov from Offnu. Gyro's pretty invested in it though.
Man, I've got my eye on his APOC, just double smoke down inners, as well as towards Ivy. AVANT throwing a lot of utility, but Alistair with that flank, only a 1-for-1. Unfortunate. Bit of a missed opportunity, but now AVANT just going to pounce on this out as bomb site.
But look at Gyro pushing through Ivy as well. He's completely cleared this out, but for maybe all for naught, as now the rest of AVANT going to be hitting the A bomb site. Gyro's going to come across, but not spot out the bomb carrier. Can't really persist any further as you do have the players in hell at the moment.
Decent post plants here for AVANT. Got a player in SL, bit of a long range to cover with that MAC-10, but it's these 2 players on the bomb train, Hazard and Sterling, with the AKs to do the main source of damage.
Yeah, but Order already backing out, looking like they're just trying to save the 2 scouts as well as pistols. They will have a very serviceable buy coming into the next one to try to do a little bit more damage, but only taking a single gun away. AVANT's going to be very happy with that. I think APOC might have only had an SMG. If he had a rifle, it would have been switched out.
Very nice start for AVANT so far. Not really being contested by Order. Few couple of duels that have been engaged in so far in both the pistol and that anti-force have been taken away by AVANT fairly easily. Not too much contest just yet. Obviously are looking towards the scouts, towards that 1 CZ to do a little bit of damage as well as the Deagle in a round like this. And then looking forward to that next gun round for Order.
So, once again, Ivy pressure going to be applied, and that HE grenade looks pretty good. That's an easy pick-off for AVANT. Just investing a little bit of utility and getting a lot of map control as a result. And Alistair trying to duel out with the USP against a UMP, which is never a good thing.
Shooting that scout away. Valiant's getting flashed in towards T-Connector. Has a little bit of impact. Gets rid of Blitz. That's the only player in that part of the map. And the bomb is actually dropped back by the dumpster. But Offnu, he's threaded the needle. He's found the gap in the defense. Flanking back through the back of bomb trains. Sterling picking up Usilo as well. And Valiant seems to be the only source of damage here for Order, who's now being slowly surrounded by these Ts.
Yeah, but Valiant has done a very good job so far. And Ricky needs to come and assist very, very soon. You can see Offnu, just patience right now. Valiants can't continue hitting all these shots, unfortunately, for him. As Ricky's going to spot a few players out. That's a great shot onto Hazard's little noggin.
Good crosshair placement. Bomb being placed down here now. No reason for Ricky to really hold on to this scout heading into the next round. So I would imagine that he's going to continue looking for damage. Doesn't have a kit, so if he does actually feel like it's reasonable to go for this round, he's got to speed up a little bit, but the way he's positioning himself, it really seems like the main idea here is going for damage.
I mean, if he does damage, that's going to be a good start. Shot rings out close towards APOC, as AK has been retrieved. So it looks like he is actually just going to be falling away. And that's actually quite good. I don't know where the AK was lost, the other one, because Offnu's not really in position to find it. No, it looks like he does pick it up, so... I take back my words. Both AKs retrieved and held onto by the Ts. So there's been a little bit of damage done by Order, but not too much so far. Out comes the first buy round for them, and it needs to look a lot different coming into this one.
Scout has not been kept over by Ricky. Does upgrade to that M4A4. Usually is that anchor player towards inner. And in this round, it's a good spawn for Alistair to go peeking in towards upper ramp. See if he's going to tank this Molotov and get a pick. APOC actually pushes forward through it.
Out comes the A-side hit though. 1 for 1 for now. Astillo dancing around the ladder, and he's been heard and spotted by Sterling. And so Gyra's got a lot of responsibility at the moment to try to hold on to Hell. He's managed to, as you would say, thread the needle right now. Might be able to find a couple of picks here and there. And that's going to draw some attention away. But still, Avant, too good on the trades, too good on the territory cover.
Yeah, there was definitely potential for Order in that round. There still is. I mean, Ricky does have a kit. Bomb hasn't gone down just yet, so he's looking to try and 1v3 here. See if he's going to clear Offnu towards the close right position. Too much of an off angle on top of the stop sign there for Ricky to deal with, and very clean headshot from Offnu to close it out. Not like Order didn't have their chances in that round, although the initial picks were very clean. This 1 for 1 from Avant, and this follow-up kill from Sterling. Nice 2 entries with the AK. There might have been potential for a Gyra there in the mid-round to get a couple of kills, and then the rotations come in from Ricky and Alistair, and all of a sudden, maybe we're talking about a round, but missed opportunity.
As Valiant's doing some good work once again with the Deagle, but it's just not enough as Avant. It just seems like they've got a read of the situation once again. We saw when they first played together on Train that Avant was so solid on the T side, and it's looking like that one more time. Order, they're trying to shift and change things up. Sure, they haven't had the buy rounds, but just looking at the way that Avant have been playing, it's just so full of confidence. They're really just toying with Order at the moment.
Anything that Order tries to do that's trying to throw a spanner in the works of Avant just seems to react fairly calmly to it, fairly well. Even in that situation where Gyra poked out of Hell, did get that initial frag, they were still holding the extremities. Still all on the same page. No panic from Avant. They're continuing to clean up Order fairly straightforwardly. Already up to 5-0 on this T side. The response has to come from Order in this next round. They can't let this get too far away from them.
Yeah, because the bank's already starting to build up on a lot of these members from Avant. You can see Sterling and APOC already sitting on 8 and 9k respectively. Offnu will have to reinvest after going down, but he's not going to be too perturbed about that, as his cash is also pretty good. Order will be calling a tactical timeout because they realize the danger of letting this blow out here, right now.
Haven't had too many chances on those gun rounds just yet for Order. Obviously, the initial gun round didn't go very well for them, as Avant really set the pace in that one, coming straight out of T-Connector, and Sterling hitting a couple of clean headshots. And when you're already finding yourself in a 3-5 deficit, maybe 20-30 seconds into the round, you can feel like you haven't really had a chance to play, haven't really had a chance to get into things. So this is where Order, into that double AWP setup that we've seen many times for them, might try to turn things around.
Is that meant to be a bird?
Big face.
Once again, look at the change in pace. They're just looking to try to take some T-Connector control, throw a couple of HE nades on the A-bomb site. This time, the artillery strike not working, though.
Double SL setup from Order is a bit of a change-up. 4 players towards this outer bomb site, as Gyro has been left to solo that inners area. And Avant getting these bomb train smokes ready. Bit of a slower approach this time around. Let's see how they do respond to the double SL setup. Actually, it's E-Box and Sandwich rather than the bomb train smokes. Out from Avant. No response, no utility drawn out from Order. Just a flashbang on that lower ramp for Gyro to find a little bit of info. Ricky re-smokes lower ramp. Actually, bit misthrown there. which is going to make Jara feel a little more unsettled than if that low ramp was properly smoked. And Alistair starting to look for some information, but out comes the execute from AVANT. Justillo, the only man who's really in position here to deal with anyone coming out of T connector. Valiant's joined him very closely in SL.
And that's already one arm of the attack being deflected as Valiant and Justillo just getting the double spray down. This double SL setup working well so far, but he's going to be mollied off and he's going to get traded out there. So 2-on-3 as Alistair's finally going to come back and make that impact kill. It's all down to Offnu right now. If he can do some damage, if he's able to flush out where Alistair is, could be a good start, but he's looked away just at the wrong time.
Alistair just playing with him as the rest of these Order players sort of start to close in. Jara trying to find a favourable line and will clean him up after a little bit of damage was inflicted by Alistair. Not losing any guns to Offnu towards the end of the round makes their buy a lot cleaner heading into this round. And Order finally getting themselves on the board and keeping enough guns up to stay competitive in the next gun round as well.
Double AWP retained as well, which is going to be absolutely critical for Order, maintaining that control of the B and the A bomb site. But you can already see how much pressure that AVANT placed in the previous series on that B bomb site. Order actually forced to start with 2 on the B bomb site very early on.
This is a change up for AVANT though. You can see APOC once again just doing what he normally does on the default, but this time the rest of AVANT straight in tow behind him, ready to just contact and push into that B bomb site on the correct timing. Which did catch Order off guard the last couple of times that they played Train against them. Let's see if they've adapted this time around. Let's see if they're ready for these kind of contact plays towards inner. It's going to be Ricky and Jara to hold it down.
Look at this double inner setup though. Ricky on the angle and the rifle just on Pop Dog. As now APOC going to challenge the angle, forces Ricky off. No one else spotted, no noise being made by AVANT whatsoever.
There's no noise in any other part of the map, but surely this lower ramp push comes in, flash out, just a leg from Ricky.
But look at the flashbangs, they're just so good at the moment, and Ricky cannot contain more than one person pushing in through inners, and Sterling's posted on the perfect angle right now. And when he's posted, he doesn't really miss.
Bomb goes down as well. Alistair thinking about trying to go for this one, seeing if he can find any of these T's on a bit of an off angle. Does pick up Sterling, which may incentivize Justillo to come back and help him go for this. Aim of the game for AVANT is really just delaying with utility. And Order decide to save.
Yeah, couldn't find any more opportunities, and the T's could have pushed too far already on the B bomb site. So AVANT just like that. That is a big loss for Order because, yeah, I mean, they've got loss bonus working for them. It's just an all-around where you can see AVANT, they're getting a perfect read of the situation. They're making it work. I dare say if we're continuing in this fashion, we're going to be heading to Inferno a lot sooner than we thought.
And you can see it's a similar approach that's worked from the last time these two played on Train for AVANT on this T side. Maybe a little unfortunate there as Ricky, the initial shot only hits leg. Jara's full white, but it's not like that's a play they haven't seen before, and it's worked yet again for AVANT. It's simple but effective. Getting straight out into Olaf, and 2 players immediately down SL. A lot of pressure. I don't think Order's ready for this timing.
No, absolutely not. And, well,
that's it. That's the round.
Yeah, I mean, Alistair misses a shot. It's just, once again, AVANT, they decide to play with the pace. They go slow, then they push quickly. They're just dictating the tempo of this game at the moment.
Yep.
And we say that's so critical for these teams a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is. Order's just one step behind. They're constantly responding to what AVANT's doing and never setting the pace themselves, never setting the tempo. And when I think of Order, that's the kind of things that are a lot of their strengths when they're feeling on point. You think about Justillo getting aggressive with that rifle from time to time, or Ricky dominating people on Inferno's CT side. Alistair running around the map with the AWP. We know these players are capable of aggression and capable of dictating the pace and taking over the game if they put their minds to it. But it just seems like there's no connection between that kind of a play style and Order on the CT side of Train. The only time I really see them go aggressive is time to time someone will walk through Ivy and look for a pick or look for some information mid to late in the round. Sometimes they'll peek up a ramp, which hasn't really been finding them any picks. And occasionally they'll go and take that T connector control. But AVANT seems to play so well around these couple of options. Doesn't really seem to bear fruit for Order very often. Whereas for AVANT, you know, it's not unfamiliar. Order's played this team many, many times on this map. And it's the same couple of plays that are catching Order off guard time and time again.
Yep, Sterling and Offnu, they're the ones that are just doing the entry work for now. And it's working absolute charm. Order will be taking a tactical timeout, but I mean, what do you even change here? It just feels like that they're trying to read what AVANT's doing in this next round. AVANT's looking 2 or 3 rounds ahead.
That's it.
Money is also pretty shot at this stage, but they have to force up a little bit at the very least to try to combat it.
They're going to half invest. Look, they've got max loss bonus at this point. You give yourself the outside shot at winning the round just because you have the extra money to burn through. Plus, it's Order. I mean, we already saw it in the second round of the game with Valiance's Deagle, but all of them are capable of having impact with the lackluster weapons.
And straight into the B-bomb site they go. It's just Blitz. He's able to do what Offnu did in the previous round, just bang it out of T-Connector, but it's a fake.
You can see these little tells, these plays that AVANT are making are preconditioning Order to expect a certain response. Whether it's going towards inners, you saw APOC doing the same thing he would do on a default when that contact play came out. The rest of AVANT was behind him. That time it was a push out towards T-Connector. Order can't seem to really get a good read on what AVANT's doing, and they're constantly just responding a little bit too late. So I feel like in this next gun round, Order, they really need to buy up. You know, whether they go double AWP or not, irrelevant. I think it's a playstyle thing. They need to find some kind of aggression, some kind of map control. Because playing at standard is really not working for them.
I mean, I don't even think they're playing it standard. They're trying to adapt to what AVANT are doing. And AVANT, they're the ones actually calling a tactical timeout at the moment. We're talking about chess games and whatnot, but this is really just...
Well, I think this is more of a timeout that's like... There you go.
No,
I think this timeout is really just more of a fact that a lot of the time you're up 8-1, you do let it slip. You do get a little bit too loose. Getting every T round is important here.
Yeah, because AVANT want to crush Order in this series.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Order, not against AVANT, but against Chiefs, I think it was. The old Chiefs in Road to Rio turned around a 12-3 deficit, so we know they have it in them.
And AVANT just want to stomp it out. They just want to go, yep, we're not going to give you a single chance on train. And I don't think that's a bad idea either, to have this killer instinct instead of just letting things just work their way around. So
Stillo's up close towards T-Connector this time around. There's a molly into Olaf. So they might be looking to send him in. That's how I would like to see it. I'd like to see the man getting a little aggressive, but he is going to back off back towards Evox side. Here it is, Alistair starting to walk through Ivy in the late round. There's only one player here.
Oh my goodness.
What is that from Offnu? What is the timing on that? But there it is, Ustillo. He's getting involved. A 2K from him in towards T-Con off the back of a nice flashbang. And this is the first time that Orders really looked on top of things. Really looked like they were in the driver's seat in any of these rounds.
Yep, at the very least, AVANT's able to bring one back, but still a 3-on-4. Numbers favouring Order as they decide to back out a little bit from this inners position, decide to play a bit of a retake B with the numbers advantage.
I like these angles. Especially in a 4-on-3, you do expect the Ts to try and find these timings on the angles, but speaking of timing...
Once again, it's just, it feels like AVANT just able to sometimes slide in just at the right time, but APOC can't find any magic this time around. Order finally managed to clean one up, and that is much better from them as they're able to get the aggression working over at T-Connector and hold on to the numbers from there.
I'd like to see them replicate that success. Find the information, go for the aggression in the earlier parts of the round or in the mid-round. And off the back of that, play out the round from there, because Order, they are a very experienced team. They are very strong with the mid-round reads. Look how close up Offnu is, though, and Sterling's found a pick. How is Offnu got behind multiple CTs.
He's just gone straight out of Olaf once again, and he managed to make it work out. And now it's just AVANT able to channel the chaos and destroy this A-Pom site hold. Nothing that Alistair can do. And Jara is going to give it a good crack, but look at the money at the moment. Sure, Valence has got a lot of cash, but just feels like every single time AVANT just changes up the pace and they just pick up a round out of nowhere.
Another pause after one successful round.
A tech pause this time though, not attack one. Train is the third most popular map of all time. Okay, that's a very interesting statistic. I would have thought Inferno might have been a little bit more popular than Train, but there you go.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it used to be. I mean, we've seen it in multiple different iterations. I think Train is a map that people express. I mean, I hear a lot of people express genuine dislike for.
I think I'm pretty ambivalent. Like, I don't actually mind the map, but it wouldn't be my first pick. Like, if I was IGL, yeah, I'd enjoy playing it, but it wouldn't be like my favorite. I think my favorite's Inferno for sure.
I'm always a big fan of Nuke Train Overpass.
It's because you're the big brain in this, Pilski. That's why we get you to analyze the games, and that's why you tell me to go entry, because I have no brain cells to play with whatsoever.
Send you in, mate.
No brain cells and no muscle cells either to get the aim across. I'm just a living decoy grenade.
That's it.
Bit of extended technical pause at the moment. Let's get some more stats. Yep, so Mirage is the most popular, then Inferno. Where's Dust 2? I mean, it was taken out of the map pool for a little bit, if I remember correctly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But even then, you'd expect Dust 2 to probably be pretty popular, but apparently not. So there you go. Give us more facts. Give us more fun facts as we are waiting for this game to get back.
You can't just ask for them. Text guy giveth and text guy taketh away.
I think you just give us the goods. I'll tell you who hasn't been giving us the goods so far. Order on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Break it down for me, Midge.
I mean, we've already been over it, really. AVANT is just one step. I wouldn't even say one. I'd say 2 to 3 steps ahead of Order at every twist and turn in this game. And Order's really struggling to find a response, and I don't think it's necessarily predicated off individual skill at this point. It really just is AVANT are hitting some very sharp timings in quick succession, and Order are caught off guard pretty much every time. Whether it's that play towards the inner bomb site, whether it's just one player running out of T-connector up behind the sandwich smoke and finding a nice timing.
There you are, Inferno, Mirage, and Dust 2. Most popular maps at major tournaments.
Miraja.
Okay.
I see you, text guy.
Can we stop being pedantic? Pilski's one of those people where it's like he sees a typo or a grammatical error and he just tries to correct it immediately. I don't like those kind of people.
Okay, bro.
He's trying to give us good facts at the moment, and if he accidentally hits an extra keyboard button, is that still taking away from the overall information? Are you not entertained?
All I'm saying is he has one job.
True. That is actually a pretty good stat. This is look.
You know what I made?
Tuned in,
Yeah, you know what I made with my missus? I've got it for dinner today. I got some nice. You get some pork rashers. You cut them up, bit of gochujang, bit of garlic, and some salt, and then you put it in an onigiri.
Oh, excellent. Might have a taste of that later, if I'm very lucky. Look, if you have just tuned in, it is a bit of an extended technical pause between this AVANT Order series. It is day number 5 right now in DreamHack Masters, if you ever needed a reminder. I sometimes need a reminder because it's been quite a couple of days of games, in all honesty.
Getting pretty cooked at this point, even after my day off. But I think I am keen to get through the rest of the tournament. Getting back into the action now. A lot on the line in this game. We didn't really talk about it in the pre-match, but this game is a couple of $1,000s and a fair few points difference between third and second.
Look at this adaptation from AVANT. They're going for what we saw a couple of rounds ago, but now this time applying a bit of utility into SL.
There's 2 players in towards SL, so it's really going to be, again, oh my god, how has he gotten on top of Yusilo? Alistair's going to trade one back. Into this 4-on-4 now, though.
Balance is forced out. Look, it just, you can see as soon as they pick off Astillo, it just feels like Avant are just reading the situation perfectly, even though Order managed to grab Ivy control and that aggression. Everything has slowed down a little bit now as utilities being used. They're very scared of maybe there being too many CT members, but the trades, once again, from Avant are just too good, and Gyra's left on his lonesome. And if I was Avant, I'd go, yep, Gyra's that B-site player.
Bomb going down. Gyra does have the kit, fair few pieces of utility, but Sterling's going to take him out of the equation immediately, and that's double digits for Avant. And again, it's another round where it feels like Avant are just hitting a sharp timing, and it's not even like in this 4-on-4, look at how much they slowed down. It's just crystal clear communication. They know exactly what they need to do in the mid-round to be able to secure things. Molly into SL, they wait for Ricky to peak, and they trade him out effectively. It's just all of the steps covered beautifully by Avant.
I mean, it's that saying, right? You've got 5 fingers. Avant's made them into a hand, a functional unit.
It's so easy in that 4-on-4 to just see the bloodlust, to overcommit, to over-communicate. But there's none of that for Avant. It's just clinical, clear communication, eliminating the enemies one at a time.
Once again, just the timing. It looks like Avant just able to read everything. They're just in the game at this stage, but Alistair, not if he has anything to say about it.
This is exactly what we want to see from Order. At
That's
this point,
better.
You just need to embrace the chaos if you're Order at this point. I don't think anything else is really working for you. I think just start throwing some missed plays out.
Oh, man. What do you say about that one, Mitch? If you're just Sterling who decides to go down a ladder and just gets absolutely, just deletes pretty much Gyra. That said, 2v2 at the moment. Alistair's actually in the position. Can't find the timing though. Now it's all down to Valiant. Has retrieved an AK-47. Has looked like in decent form. But you can see Sterling just waiting on the other side of the smoke. He is having a phenomenal game so far. Getting so many entries, so many critical kills right now.
And you asked me, what do you even do? What do I think? I mean, I've had games like this, you know, playing in CS competitions at a lower level, and it's very easy to just give up and just say, look, they're just sharper on the day. They're just feeling it today. But when you've got so many Pro Tour points on the line, when it's a couple $1,000s, Order really can't afford to just let this go by the wayside. But again, it's Avant with the opening pick.
The default's just been too solid so far. They're able to navigate through most of these rounds. And this time around, even though T-Connector control has been taken by the CTs, you can see Avant more than happy just to chill out, not do anything with it.
Yep, I mean, they've got the advantage. And that's another problem. Even when it feels like Order have some of these opportunities, they're either just not working out for them or not being capitalized on. But Alistair's going to take matters into his own hands. It's about time. Walks up on the angle. Gets that peek onto Ofnu and evens up the man disadvantage that they had. This could be a promising round. It's really going to come down to the decision making from Avant at the end of the day. If it's a play towards inners, you're probably going for Order. If they are actually going to clear out SL and take some control of it and maybe hit that outer bomb site, there's a chance.
Looks like they're geared up to go to the A bomb site. Apoc's just drawing a bit of decoy utility. But that's great incendiary grenade timing coming out from Alistair. Now they're going to accelerate that push onto the A bomb site, but Alistair's still here over at Sandwich. And he's in such a dangerous position right now. If he finds just one, might be able to disrupt enough, but he hasn't been cleared. He takes down one, dances back around, and the communication looking a little bit shot right now for Avant. Back down to the 2-on-3. Order has that number advantage, but Apoc is so uncertain where the opponents are. And slowly, Order coming in. Situation has slowed down a little bit, all down to the 1-on-2. Bomb's in a great position for APOC to play with, though. But you can see Ricky's covering off the angle, lands a bit of damage, but he gets the shot still, and the CT isn't on the defuse. APOC has gamed this to perfection. He has big-brained Avant to the 12th round. And once again, another round where Order, it seems like they have the read. They get the kills that they need, but it doesn't fall their way.
Yeah, Alistair just didn't have a kid there. It couldn't sit on that defuse. And even though he makes a massive play to put Order into, was that a 2-on-4 or a 2-on-3? A 4-on-2 or a 3-on-2? I'm not sure rather. But end of the day, I mean, the post plant's just too strong. Pretty hard to win a post plant when the T's are in Olaf and Hell sometimes. Oh no!
It's gone from bad to worse at the moment, as they've just gotten a lot of these openings, and Blitz is kind of a no man's land. At that point in time, still a 3-on-2, and this is looking even better for Avant compared to yesterday. Not if Castillo's got anything to say about it. He's able to start making this retake work right now for Order, as Ofnu is going to be caught out in the open. So at the very least, Order do have through at the very end thanks to some individual brilliance, but this has really just been a one-sided harp from Avant. We're going to a short break. We'll be right back to see if Order can complete a comeback or not.
Seems so far away. Now I'm out of my mind, watching time go by, and I can't live another day. Falling through the cracks in the pavement, life won't pass me by. Gonna make you notice.
And back into the second half of Avant. An almost clinical take of that T side. They almost had 13 rounds, but a bit of individual brilliance allows them at the very least to grab 3 and maybe, just maybe, complete a comeback train. I don't think it's possible, Pilski. As we're straight into a technical pause, as we look like we've missed someone from water.
Well, it's not it is possible, but it's not probable, is what I was really reaching for there. We know, I mean, like we said before, I think it was this exact scoreline, and this exact situation that Order was up against Chiefs in Road to Rio. And they made a big comeback, I believe it was on the T side. Much more difficult opponent, I would say, though, this time around. And AVANT's shown a tendency to shut Order out of games pretty consistently. Even some of these games where you go on HLTV and you look at the head-to-head and it says, oh, Order got 10, 13 rounds. When you look at the score counts, it was definitely not representative of that emoji, because it was a pretty one-sided first half score, or at one point they were up pretty one-sidedly.
But this is the whole thing. That's AVANT, right? That's definitely a case of if you're happy, you know it, clap your hands. We'll pretend we didn't see anything there. It's all right, MC. That sounds like something's flatlining, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Order's chances of taking back this match. Anyway, this is where we need Mac now.
Yeah.
We need some Mac's anatomy. Or Detective Mac. Which one do you think we need right now?
Definitely Dr. Mac.
And why do you say that? Is it because there's been a murder? AVANT, the primary suspect?
Oh, that would be Detective Mac. I think Dr. Mac, because Order's not dead yet. Get the defibrillators out, get some life into them, and they can turn this series around anytime that they want to. As soon as they are ready to step up and play a good game here, there's a chance they can turn this around. But if they don't show up today, then they don't show up. Nothing any of us can do to control it.
What do you mean?
It's up to Order. End of the day.
You can just tell them. It's like, here's a candy bar if you guys decide to drop a 20 bomb.
At least you've gone the route of trying to actually.
What's happened here?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we are.
I was like, at least you've gone the route of trying to like reward them in a way, as opposed to just being like, just play better. It's always good when the casters are like, just play better.
It's called the Karath and the stick approach, right? So we'll give it that way. Look, single smoke for Gyra to use as the rest of Order looking to attack probably the A bomb site by the looks of it, but it can change. Look at the stack from AVANT though. 4 in the B bomb site. Only has a holding the outers area. He's been dinked out and I'd almost go down.
Definitely pretty low here. Will be cleaned up, I imagine, by these blocking players. Didn't look like it. It was a clean kill there, but Ricky holding onto SL is definitely making this pistol round looking a little bit better for Order. It was Sterling on the side as well, and start to put that bomb down. Spot out Offnu. They're well aware that Blitz was above SL, but Offnu's starting to fight back a little, Kev.
Yep, 3-on-2, but Gyro looks like he's covering off the correct angles at the moment. They're aware that most likely they were on the flank, but still AVANT a little bit too sharp here. I don't know where the kit is, though, and that's going to be the issue all the time.
It's towards Ivy.
Yep, and Blitz, he is going to be heading over in that direction. There is a smoke for him to play with as well. That should be on Hazard's dead body.
Hasn't picked it up, though, and now needs to start to get a bit of a move on here, but it's a very good post-plant setup from Order.
Yep, and I'd say that Blitz, he could only maybe find a couple of kills here and there, not to be in this instance, and it's going to be 4-12. So at least Order pick up the pistol round, try to make something work.
Yep. Definitely some signs of life still left in Order. A little bit of a twitch of the finger, move of the hand. See if they can actually stand up to AVANT here. Start to turn this game around. Will be the force buy straight away from AVANT. Pistols and armor, a few scouts. Actually, everyone's got armor. Order smoke off on towards the back of Green Train, and now starting to make their way out of T-Connector. Wolf packing it.
It's all down to who can hit whatever shots at this stage. And Hazard, that's a great eagle from him. And now all the CTs over here in the A bomb site. Blitz, though, at close range of the scout. Not much that he can really do. Now it looks like Alistair's doing a pretty good job on the cleanup duty right now.
Gyro as well. Gets rid of Offnu in that critical position towards the side of the bomb train. Could have been a real nuisance there if you found a close angle onto Valiance. Bomb goes down, and Sterling, unfortunately, never given the opportunity to find any heads with that scout. So Order, that's 2 in a row. Starting to pick up some pace, starting to pick up some momentum, particularly if they close out this anti-eco nice and clean. Put that 6th round on the board. Maybe they could get a little bit of the confidence that they need rolling into that first gun round.
Yep, just looking to build up some money right now. It's just Estillo straight out. The rest of the boys going over to the B bomb site. Estillo probably will go down here. There's just too many USPs for him to deal with, but can actually rack up a bit of cash, which is always a good thing. So 2 kills.
Yeah, that $300 on Sterling could actually make the difference between picking yourself up a set of armor with that AWP or an extra grenade or 2.
I think it's actually just allowed him to afford armor actually in the next round.
Don't do maths on stream, Kevin. It's very dangerous.
Unfortunately so. Actually, I think it very much is the case he can get body armor now. So, if he...
Oh, a double dink onto Ricky as well. That would have been a little bit more than body armor.
Because otherwise he'd have 5,300.
Yep.
$100 short.
So that 1 USP kill actually does make the difference between body armor and not for Sterling.
We'll see if it makes a difference coming into this round, because it could be very much a case of Order is starting to fill it and they just rip his head off.
Yep.
There's Mac 10s as well. You don't have the helmet.
All right, let's see how Order's feeling in this first gun round. Plenty of money behind him. Can continue to buy on this T side. Alistair flashed off the line. And Sterling's going to post up. He needs to be a little careful here. Surely Ustillo jumps it. Never mind. I think Ustillo did jump across, which might have pulled Sterling's crosshair away. And Alistair capitalizes, but you still not ideal to go down to a Molotov there.
That's more of... You want to see that at a restaurant, maybe a roasted lobster, but not right now for Order. Brings it back down to a 4-on-4. Still numbers favouring them. They've been able to identify, I think, the position of one. Hazza tries to get some shots through the smoke, but he's been picked off. So 2-on-4 on the A bomb site at the moment. As Offnu trying to get himself into a favourable situation alongside with APOC, but it looks like both their positions have been compromised, so it means that Order are going to pick up the pace. There you have it. The entry is working for them, and Order are keeping it clean so far on their own T side, getting the entries that they need and grouping up and using the force, or their forces, to make it work. So if they're able to do this for 2 more rounds, just maybe.
Oh, they've already put themselves in a fantastic position. Cleaned up the pistol, anti-eco. First gun round. They're building up a lot of cash here, and now heading into this anti-eco. A lot of money invested here from Avant, just off the back of having that loss bonus built up. They can go for those deagles, some body armor, some grenades as well. 1-1-3 setup from Order, creeping out Ivy. Avant definitely not ready for this one.
APOC though, able to land at least a bit of damage. Gets a kill, as the CT is also just maintaining this connected control for now. It is a bit dangerous because you have some of these players isolated away, and all it takes is a couple of good deagle shots and that's it. And Blitz is going to be challenging the first position. Gyra though manages to bring that spray back, and now it looks like it should be a relatively easier cleanup.
Very switched on, this young man. But unfortunately, missed timing is going to cost him another gun. Hazza actually picks up a 1 dig as well from CT Connector, so starting to get a little expensive from Order.
Yep, but Hazza has to charge in eventually, and Gyro is going to be covering that off. So, look, Order, they lose 3 rifles. Avant almost in a position where they could potentially still lose rounds, but not able to just yet. Not on the board so far in their CT side, as Order have managed to claim 6 in a row now.
APOC's gone for the secondary AWP, which I've seen a couple times on Train. I feel like for this Avant roster, it's not down to a specific player, but more down to the position that you're playing as to who's going to pick up that secondary. Gyra getting straight out Olaf here.
straight into Sandwich as well. Blitz trying to spray through and find some damage as the boost does happen at T Connector. And Gyro just finds the timing straight into Ivy and also the spray into Blitz. At least Haz is able to answer around E-Box and still 2 defenders on the A-bomb site. And Order, they've just cracked open the B-bomb site now. It's just chaos everywhere.
Again, Ricky, being that playmaker on the extremity, deals with the upper ramp push and takes control of inners all by himself, throwing AVANT for a bit of a loop. They can't get a read on what's happening here, and now Order, they're sort of just making individual pushes, looking for information around the map. Jara takes the initiative, wraps back through Darkside. Valiant brings the bomb over towards this inner site.
Yep, and Ricky just making sure that CT Connector has been covered off, and with Jara pushing through the A-bomb site into A2.
They can't exit, can they?
I think they have just managed to find the timing. But their question is going to be for AVANT, where is this lurking Gyra? And Haz is going to be the first point of contact, but he's just way too sharp. So the double AWP should be able to be retained by AVANT. But what a chaotic round coming out. As Order, they just take gunfights left, right, and center. They managed to make it work out, sure, but there were some situations you could see AVANT maybe had a chance of bringing it back.
Don't want to lose this AWP towards the end of the round, though. Good recovery from Sterling. Takes the last 2 kills as well. Expensive for Order. Trying to throw everything at those last 2 AWPs and not getting anything out of it. Other than a big check at the end. And AVANT going to take a tactical this game that was very one-sided. Quickly starting to slip away from them in a matter of moments. What was a 12-3 lead has gotten a hell of a lot closer.
And those are the parts where you maybe go, if AVANT tied it up that last round, if Estillo wasn't able to bring those heroics, that Order might have been in a bit of a more disastrous situation. I know it doesn't sound like a big difference between 12 and 13, but it's a difference between AVANT not being able to reset Order.
Yeah. Also breaks the momentum.
Haz does his best to try to lock down the A-bomb site, playing around the smoke, able to get 2 kills at the very least, but it's just Ricky able to do the damage on the other side.
That shot was so dirty. Hazard is actually so dirty with the M4A4, it's ridiculous.
You said he's the best A4 player in Oz, so...
Easily.
And look at the change in pace, straight into the B-bomb site. Ofnu drops the HE grenade, gets out safely, does a lot of damage, needs to follow it up with the spray though, but the trade's instantly there.
Yeah, Sterling puts out that Molotov towards Connector, but loses a hell of a lot of HP for it. Molotov going behind it, and you still are actually pushing straight up into this pump smoke.
Such a dangerous position for the CTs to exit, but with actually APOC getting Alistair, now it's going to force AVANT forward as they're looking to push, but Estillo might have just threaded the needle at the moment, but there is just a bit of a hug at the moment between the 2 sides. 2v3 at the moment, and Estillo can't find the timing this time around. Gets a 1 at the very least, and it's all down to Gyra at the moment, but the Molotov's been dropped. Enough time has been bought. So once again, double AWP will be saved by AVANT, but Order hitting double digits now, looking very possible for this comeback train, as they've taken 8 in a row, 7 on this T side.
AVANT being very responsible holding on to these AWPs as well, though, with the loss bonus just continuing to put buy round after buy round together. But yeah, it's undeniable that Order is definitely back in this game. What a fantastic streak of 7 rounds on the T side here. No reply from AVANT yet.
I have to say, Alistair's been looking very good on this T side so far. We're talking about him being the linchpin, the key aggressor. And you can see once again, another scenario. He's able to find the pick through the shoulder of his teammate. Valiant decides to step it up a little bit as well. And Blitz trying to lurk through the edge of the smoke. At least they find the bomb carrier, but how do you shoot a target with the silenced M4 like that? Sterling's been boosted up. I think that's a good indication right now for Order that there should be 2 around the connector position.
They're going to put the bomb down anyway. Try and cover off either side of that bomb train. Valiant's now trying to get off the bomb side if possible, but he's picked off by Ofnu before he can move anywhere. So again, similar to the last half, it's down to the Hell and the Olaf crossfire, and Ofnu cleans Ricky out of Hell. Down to this one-on-one now.
Sterling's got a kit and an incendiary grenade to work with, though. He's going to drop it, pretty deep. Taps it once, but Estillo's cleared it. And Estillo still dancing around. He's going to find the 1-on-2 clutch. AVANT so close to getting their first CT round. But Order still just coming out individually better towards the end. And now only one round the difference. The series now really starting to light up at the moment. And I'm looking like a bit of a goose. Coming into, well, it was 3-12, and I said no chance at all for Order to make the comeback work.
Hey,
and look where we are.
You're the only one that predicted for them, so I give you the benefit of the doubt, Kev. Either way, though, Order going to take a bit of attack after that clutch. That's definitely one to get the blood pumping. And AVANT looking lifeless on this CT side. Do have the money to be able to put together another buy, but it's going to be a little bit weaker than what they've been working with thus far. No AWPs unless you want to glass cannon it. And very limited utility. They're just going to take the half save, really valuing this AWPs. They had more than enough money to go for a buy in a round like this, but they've opted to go for a half buy.
Decent grenade doing some damage, and the flashbang in the Deagle allows APOC to at least chime in with one. It is a full A-site commitment from AVANT. As Hazard now looking to probe into T-Connector, gets a 1 dig of his own. Sterling's going to eat that grenade, but this is now very dangerous for Order. They're all isolated, fighting one-on-one duels, not in the position to trade out.
But they are just holding angles, waiting for AVANT to get over-aggressive.
Just like that.
Very sensible in the positions that they're in. Not over-committing. Despite being isolated, they are being very safe. Now starting to move towards this outer site. One player in towards SL there. Could give them some issues.
It's Hazard. All left in his lonesome. But once again, Order. It looks a little bit perilous for them at the beginning, but they just slow things down, talk it through, and this is where we are. Scores tied 12 apiece.
9 rounds in a row on the T side for Order.
That's 10 in a row now if you consider that final round. The momentum has really just swung back in the favor of Order, and they're actually going to use their final tactical timeout here.
Interesting.
I think they understand that if they take this round, it might be just their game.
I think AVANT, they had plenty more opportunities still. It's not taking hold of any of them. With the amount of loss bonus that they've had built up at this point, they've really not lacked for money. It's not been a question of getting reset and having to take ecos. And even on the ecos, due to the current state of the economy, you still have chances in those rounds. You can still buy up those deagles and armor. And usually between these two sides, we see a hell of a lot more of those kind of rounds get across the line. So far in this map, hasn't been the case. Might just be due to the map in question. A lot less likely on Train with a lot of these long sight lines. Some of those force buys to get across, as opposed to an Inferno or something like that. Either way, though, AVANT, they really have to start turning it around. This is getting scary for them. Order take control of inners towards Brown Hall. Smoke goes on to low ramp. Utility into SL as well. Order starting to set up towards the Brown Hall, starting to set up this inners execute. Not something that we've seen from them. Definitely a change up in the pace. It's going to be on Offnu. Try to just stay alive, 1-for-1 himself, and Sterling to get a pick on this upper ramp. And it is only a 1-for-2 for AVANT. Now no players in position to come towards the inner bomb site. They're Molotov'd off. They have to consider a save here.
But you look at the position of APOC, maybe they're looking to persist forward, but Jaira, he's not in the position to try to allow them to save, and almost gets that spray into Hazard as well, but they will be able to pick up the AWP, which was the goal for AVANT. They really are prioritizing the sniper rifle at this stage, but Sterling just hasn't found the impact that we saw from his T side. And Order are in the lead.
They're doing it. It's unbelievable. Turning around a 12-3 deficit on the T side of Train. They did it in Road to Rio. They're doing it against an even tougher opponent this time around. I can't even believe it. Must have been Dr. Mac. He went in there Got the defibrillator pads going.
It shocked Alistair into something new, that's for sure, who's been landing a lot of these critical entries, and Valiant's looking solid on the rifle. And Order just seem to be on the same page at the moment as well, which is so critical. Looking very disciplined on this T side. Look, AVANT can still buy into this round. Not really. They've actually just decided to go with a couple of pistols on some of these members instead.
Really valuing those double AWPs and the full utility on Train. You can't blame them. But at the same time, you kind of wonder if you're giving just too many consecutive rounds to Order, giving them too many easier chances as they start to walk out T-Connector again. A large amount of AVANT players over here towards the bomb train and Ivy.
But all it takes is a single play, and Blitz and Hazard get the crossfire working as Order. They stumble right now. They walk straight into a slaughter field.
Trying to force their way through that sandwich smoke. Extremely ineffective for the amount of players on that bomb train. And now trying to turn around this 2-on-4. Ricky's already copped a leg from Sterling. Bombs dropped towards the side of the bomb train, and AVANT closing in towards this hell position.
But Alistair's posted, but he misses the most critical shot of all. Sterling won't let that go unpunished. And now this should surely be a cleanup. Ricky's barely breathing at the moment, tries to go for the spray down against the AWP. Finally, AVANT put one on the board, and at least they keep 3 alive. They had pistols and Hazard and Offnu before, so they can completely invest in.
That's going to boost their economy towards the end part of this game. Not only do they still have a hell of a lot of loss bonus built up, but they also pick up some additional guns. You're looking at the effects of that Blitz after winning that round. 6k in the bank after a streak of losses. Hazard's got a ton of money. They're sitting pretty in terms of the cash, whereas Order, no loss bonus, and they're completely broke. This is such a critical round for them. Well, they might have to take a save in the next to put AVANT on match point.
Jara's being an absolute nuisance. He's the linchpin, really, for Order in this situation. The longer he stays alive, and maybe if they can find an answer, they'll be really solid. They're trying to prey right now into Offnu as well. Ricky trying to open up on the extremity to keep AVANT guessing.
Order trying to hit this timing straight down lower. Offnu's just got to be able to hold on for this rotation from Sterling with the AWP sitting at Summit.
And slowly crawling up as well. Is anyone going to be checking him is the real question. He misses the spray. He gets the dink, but he can't transfer it. And now it's really Alistair trying to find these small windows of opportunity. Sterling now knows where his counterpart is, but a 4-on-3. The spray down's going to work in the favor of Order eventually, and Hazard, he's managed to make his way through Summit onto the bomb site with 3 members to find. He's eventually going to get timed, and Alistair's going to clean up as Order haven't really reset the economy of AVANT, though. Yeah. That's the thing.
They stay alive. It's just a side effect, as I said, going into that round. It wasn't a must-win for AVANT, but it was a must-win for Order. Even dropping that many guns takes a toll on their economy. They don't have the loss bonus built up at all at this point, so if they lose even one of these rounds on the T side, they are going to be broke, and AVANT will threaten pushing themselves to match point, putting Order under the pump. So Order, they've survived in that round, but they haven't quite bought themselves the economic room that they need, because even if they lose this one, they're broke again. Over on the AVANT side, they go through all of that money that they earned by winning with those pistols 2 rounds ago, but they still have the loss bonus behind them. That's the difference here.
What a way we've come. We're ending up here as the Incendiary Grenade missed into T-Connector, as Alistair's then able to chime in with a pick from SL. Oh no, Blitz has also hopped across. He's playing with Alistair at the moment, but I don't know if that's the game that you want to be playing, as the double B site early on does not work for AVANT. I don't know if Blitz has actually spotted out Estillo pushing forward. I don't think he has.
I think he has. I'm pretty sure he saw that, and now he's seeing Offnu pushing up actually towards lower ramp. AVANT are actually starting to get in some pretty good positions here. If Order continue going slowly at this point.
Oh no, they both missed each other. Ricky's lining up a utility, but there's actually the push from Offnu at the right time. As Alistair hits a phenomenal shot to bring it brings it back into a numbers advantage for Order, and they're going to head straight into the B bomb site. Rotation, though, being called from AVANT as well. Sterling is able to hit this shot, the most critical shot of them all. He's able to land one, but not the second. And APOC gets the one on the cross. It's all down to the one-on-one right now into the 28th round. Alistair versus APOC. APOC enough time to rotate around and get himself into a critical position.
What a read from AVANT with that double rotate. No, the missed shot from APOC at the worst possible timing.
Oh, and Alistair, he's gone with a classic.
Jumps up on the bomb train. Incredible.
And APOC can't touch him because Alistair's got the higher ground. It's all over. Everyone knows that at this stage. Oh, I mean, APOC still tried it. Loses his life, not just his limbs. And AVANT, they call a tactical timeout, but with what money? Another one-on-one where just a single shot is all the difference. APOC misses the entry onto Alistair coming out from inner ramp.
That really was it, wasn't it?
I feel like that's the tale of AVANT CT side. So many critical shots going missing. You look at Ofnu, misses the spray.
The thing is, right, let's say he hits that shot and it's 14-14. It is a very similar buy in this round. The only difference is that they have an AWP. The rest of everyone else still has around 3.6k. So it's a similar sort of round, just no AWP that AVANT has to get through. And then they have to try and buy in the next. It's obviously a must-win because the Order's secured that match point. But still, it was a close round and Order doesn't have a whole lot of money to fall back on. So if Order loses a round like this, they're going to be economically crippled again. Utility so far being exchanged towards inner, which probably favours Order, considering AVANT's utility is very scarce. And in some cases is a necessity to hold certain types of plays from Order. But no early round shenanigans from them. Just moving through the map, waiting for aggression.
It is going to be the B side execute. That's going to determine the fate of this round. You can see Order grouping up.
And there's no utility for AVANT to hold it. It's all going to be down to this player on coils. Ofnu's got to be the main line of defense here because Sterling's only got a Famis towards Summit. Order getting ready. The flashes flying out from Jira.
And I think Ricky spotted out one, but Ofnu's able to stay alive. But he has so many angles to fight. Ricky, you can see he's being an absolute nuisance. He gets the double entry with the Galil and tries to replicate some form with the A4 with a FAMAS. 3-on-4 at this stage. They have to go in, but they are falling as Ricky, with the rifle, tries to bring the A4 back. Cannot do so.
Order feeling pretty comfortable. Hazza starting to move up this oil train. Might have found the timing onto Jira, but Order, they've got a great post plant. There's no kids here for AVANT.
And they can throw the molly as well. Alistair's going to be lining it up, drops the Molotov, and I'd say that's it. They can't get the defuse down, even if they get the kills. How have Order done this? They managed to make the comeback train work as Blitz, all he can hope for is the kill. He can't even get that. 16-13. Order take map number 1, and now in the position to upset AVANT after that second half. Well, we'll go for a short break. We'll be right back with the analysis.